What is up, friends? I'm on here after the fact making an introduction to a video I posted or I made a couple days ago about balance. It's the second of my what could be a pretty long sequence of videos or series of videos about sort of behind the scenes things you should be thinking about, or I recommend you thinking about if you're practicing and trying to develop stronger balance. What is your objective in your balance practice? I'm coaching you on balance, and I'm coaching balance, orienting this towards people who take my classes, but also just friends and people I care about who want balance for part of their full body physical wellness. One of the reasons we might not choose to practice our balance is if we don't think it's that relevant. You're like, how often am I standing on one leg, right? If I don't practice slacklining, or if I'm not a figure skater or a ballerina, or if I don't otherwise have just the inclination to practice it for fun, for like the physical body puzzle of it, then it might not seem that worthwhile. But I need to tell you that you are standing on one leg every time you take a step. And it might seem like an insignificant amount of time that you're on that leg, but number one, it's not insignificant to your body because a lot happens here. And on that standing leg when you walk, you are setting up the moving leg for how it hits the floor, if there's shearing pain up into your hip, if you're able to use your foot. There's lots going on in this dialogue between your feet. And if you want to make an impact in your overall health, the cumulative effect, meaning, the way your body moves, how your joints feel, how your back health, your hip health, all of it. If you want to preserve your joints and move your body with strength and athleticism and injury prevention, like I always preach, then one of the best, low-hanging fruit opportunities for you is getting stronger balance so that you walk better. Because every step, even if you are only on it for an incremental, a very small amount of time, the cumulative effect is huge because each step is either health supportive, literally stable hips, strong aligned joints, a leg that hits the ground without a percussion, right? Like being able to be strong, being able to push my body through space rather than just fall forward, compromising the power muscles and really jacking up the receiving, the deceleration muscles. So much goes on in just that switch from one leg to the next in the basic, the most elemental form of human locomotion. Now, if you run, you're doing even more fancy things, but we crawl before we walk, and we walk before we run, right? So here we go. I'm approaching this whole balance series as if you are someone who's working on balance to be able to stand on one leg for the purpose of walking better, and then from walking better and having that strength, you can translate that skill to any other more higher skill set that you want, like creating more force. Two things going on from that single leg position. Number one, if I were to freeze frame it, and I'm just standing on that leg, how's that affecting the joints at my hip, at my spine, right? As my hip gets all wonky under here, it's pulling on my pelvis, which is pulling on my low back, right? Might be triggering, like, oh shoot, my hips hurt when I walk, my back hurts when I walk, right, etc. Knee health, knee collapsing in, foot being strong on the ground, whole other series of videos on foot strengthening. So number one, there's what's going on here. But like I said, it's also really setting up the other leg. There's a huge incidence of people who have like a hip replacement on one side, then destroying the knee on the other leg because this hip isn't recovering, and they're not rehabilitating it, and they keep just jacking up this swing through leg. And it's reciprocal, right? So there's just an example. But also, if I want to get more fancy with what this floating leg is doing, like say I need to propel myself forward, or I want to take a cut in the sport, or just do it, or in dance, I want to control my range of motion a little bit more deliberately. All of that has to start from a strong base. If that standing leg is off balance, then I can't do anything interesting with my body. I can't do it safely for either limb, and I can't get creative with it because I'm not in control of it. I'm off balance. I'm just kind of falling. I can't be deliberate. I can't be purposeful. I can't generate power. My whole nervous system is just thinking, don't fall, even if I'm used to it, right? I've gotten good at not falling, and it's not a long distance. So I got good at not falling, but my whole nervous system is like, just hold, as opposed to, we're ready. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is there a defender coming at me? Like, is there a child running at me? What's going on? So again, we are practicing our balance in my classes for the purpose of walking well. And that directly relates to what I'm going to tell you next, which is about what our core, what our body should feel like. And just to give you a quick summary, it's going to be pulling up to assist that position from the waist, you could think, and pushing down into the floor from the hips, because I want to be grounded into the floor. So cue, I'm just going to let the next video run, but hopefully that's helpful. A little bit of backstory, a little bit of context, and again, I'm going to keep adding slices and layers to these behind-the-scenes strengthening pieces so that you're not just like, I'm just going to try and brush my teeth and hope I survive the 3 minutes or whatever it is, right? Let's make this purposeful, giving little different things that you can think about to commit to this training, because it'll change your life.